Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Kickin Show, the official podcast of Kickin the Tires. We've got Justin and Zach joining us tonight here, and a little bit to talk about. We had a test out at COTA for Goodyear Tire Test. We had, action at Homestead this past weekend. Brandon Cattell is tearing it up in the iRacing series in the Kickin the Tires number 80 machine. We got a ticket giveaway. We got some updates on the Bristol dirt race coming up, and Shell Pennzoil has a really cool deal that I'm going to tell you about. Zach, what are your thoughts on this week and what happened last week in the world of auto racing, stock car racing?
Yeah, we finally got to an oval this year. When it comes to a regular intermediate style type of track, we've seen pretty much everything so far, from super speedway racing to a couple road course races from the Clash and last week. So we finally got on a regular oval, and we got to see what these guys have for pretty much a majority of the year. And some surprises once again, and some guys who we expected to always run up front were quick again. But I think at the end it was kind of more surprises. I mean, I did not see William Byron winning at least this early this year, especially in the fashion that he did, leading over 100 laps. He's not the type of guy to dominate races. And once he got, the first half or so, he wasn't really a contender near the front. We saw guys like Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski, who I felt like were the best guys. And those two and Logano, really, they all pretty much fell off the face of the earth, and they just weren't that quick. And when they fell off, it was guys like Byron and Kyle Larson, and then right there at the end, Tyler Reddick, who all pretty much came together at the end. But Byron had such a big lead that he was just out and away with it. And probably the best race of his career, I would say. I mean, he completed it from start to end, stayed out of trouble, good restarts, good strategy, and he just dominated and won it. And, we saw, as I said, a lot of surprises, like Chris Buescher leading his most laps ever in a race, and he unfortunately fell off and barely squeaked in the top 20. But Ryan Newman, his teammate, it was pretty much his first real top 10 in a couple years since actually Homestead back in 2019. He had two top 10s last year, but they were both on super speedways. One of them, was upside down at Daytona. So
yeah, that was a little different.
Yeah, quite a bit different, I know. So for him to just have a solid race, a solid top 10 car, and coming home in one piece, that was a big deal for him. And another Ford, Michael McDowell, with 3 straight top 10s. He had never had 2, and for him to have 3 in a row, nearly a top 5, and I'm starting to kind of believe in this team a little bit. It was so early, of course, but to see speed like this, we've never seen speed like this from front row, and for him to keep it going through an oval, really interested to see what he brings in Vegas this weekend. And Cup wasn't the only race. Of course, we had Xfinity as well, and then Myatt Snyder just leading on to this huge trend of first-time winners. We had another one here in Xfinity with Myatt. He's put on a lot of pressure this year in that 2 car. We know what it did just a couple years ago with Tyler Reddick, and it's had some great success over the years. So for him to win the first oval race in that car, that was huge for him. And great battle, great overall race with Brett Moffitt, and the crazy moment with Noah Gragson with David Starr. Of course, not at all David Starr's fault. I know Gragson had some comments, and Carl Long had some comments on top of that.
But they met after the race. They talked it out, and and it's bitter. But you know what? At the end of the day, you can't do anything if a tire's going down, and it is what it is. I do want to go back to William Byron. He led 102 laps, and at one point had a greater than 7-second lead on the field. He was hauling the mail. But the guy who was actually the fastest in the closing laps was Tyler Reddick, and he just couldn't get there. And probably 5 laps more, we'd have seen a different winner, or we'd have seen one heck of a wreck for the lead. But Justin, wasn't Reddick your guy?
He was, and you know what? Going back to Gragson too, because I'm going to loop both of them in. Both races were lost by the spotters. Plain and simple. Why? Because Noah Gragson shouldn't have been running the top. With a 9-second lead at 2 laps to go to the bottom. Stay safe. Get off the wall. Let David Starr go hit the wall. You're not going to get involved in that. Or B, if you misjudge a corner or make a slip, you're going to hit the wall. Why are you risking that? So that should have been on the spotter with at least, at very minimum, 3 laps to go. If not, probably 5 laps to go. Get off the wall. Give yourself some space and take it easy the last few laps. And for Tyler Reddick, I don't know how his spotter didn't tell him that everybody else, the front 2 cars in front of him, Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr., they're running either the low mid lane or the middle lane. No one's running the high lane. So why Tyler Reddick decided to dive low to try to pass by them when they constantly were leaving the top lane open kind of boggles my mind. Had he kept that top line, he would have very easily probably passed both of them in turns 1 and 2 with about 4 to go, which would have made him catch up to Byron. That would have been one heck of a battle for the win between those two. But that's pretty crazy to the start of this whole year. I mean, you were mentioning how, you got Ryan Newman getting a top 10 and Michael McDowell getting 3 top 10s, him and Kevin Harvick the only 2 to do so. But this year is starting out exactly like 1950. I tweeted it out earlier this week where I said the first 2 races were won by first-time winners. You have Michael McDowell and Christopher Bell. And the second race was won by a second-time winner, which in this case was William Byron. If you go back to 1950, the same is true. You had 2 first-time winners, and then the third race was won by a second-time winner. So,
well, I can't hold Reddick's spotter too responsible because Reddick made the choices to run where he ran. And if you watch it closely, because I was watching the race from start to finish this past weekend, which is rare. I don't always get to watch it unless I'm at the track. I usually have to, go back and go through the highlights and watch it or watch a rerun on DVR. But they were only giving him about 3/4 of that top line. So could he have shoved it in there? It's kind of in the same situation. If he goes high and something happens to them, then they take him out. He thought his car was fast enough to go on the, to go low and to get around him. Yeah. And every time he did, he would hit a wall of air and it just, it slowed him down. And look, face it, it's this package. It is what it is. I don't usually bash on NASCAR, but a lot of it, we had good racing, but a lot of it is the package. And we're going to see that change going forward with the new car next year. So, it is what it is. It was a great run for Reddick. It was a great run for Willie B. And lots of drivers that you weren't expecting had good days, and some that you expected to have good days had bad days. And I actually like this shakeup in the points. I want to see what's going to happen with these guys that are winning and putting the pressure on the veterans that should make it to the playoffs. And see what they have to do in order to get there. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, especially too, you consider that 2 of these guys that have won races, they've locked themselves into playoff positions, have never been in the playoffs before. So
that's right.
You're already getting people that very rarely, or if ever, have never won a race before. Now they're securing their spots in the playoffs this early in the season. I don't know if we're going to have a points battle for that 16th spot going into Daytona when we're wrapping up this regular season. I think this is the year that if you want to be in the playoffs, you're going to have to win.
We'll see. I think there may be a couple of spots still open at the end of the time, but Christopher Bell was gonna get in the playoffs regardless, whether he pointed his way in or whether he won a race, he was gonna get in the playoffs. So you can't really count him. Michael McDowell, the odds of him getting in the playoffs, I mean, the odds of him winning the Daytona 500 were 66-1. So those are pretty long odds. Then I will say this. What's up with the tire test at COTA? I couldn't make it out there. Everybody thinks, it's in Texas, you should go. Well, that's 4 hours from my house. And granted, I will drive to Dallas for a press conference or whatever for Eddie and everything. And the whole Texas Motor Speedway staff was out in COTA. I just couldn't get there. I had not planned right. I had some other stuff with the company that our company does marketing for that I had to be at, but it doesn't seem like it. It's much of a test because you're sending the best in road course racing, Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. and oh yeah, let's throw in Brad Keselowski for good measure, and send them down to Texas and let them get a leg up on the competition before they come back in a couple of months. So I don't know what they pulled away from it. We'll see, and whether it helps any of those individual drivers or not. But I don't know y'all's thoughts. Feel free to weigh in. But my God, I think they just handed the race to one of those guys.
Well, they were probably going to have the race anyway. You mentioned it. I mean, they literally are probably the top 3 best road course races. There's a few others like Logano's really good, but yeah, I mean, this early. I mean, they race in May, right? At COTA?
Yeah, May 23rd.
May race. Okay.
I will say this. I hate to interrupt you real quick, but they sent Brad down there. I'm thinking that Brad's notes back to Joey are, "Hey Joey, when you go down into turn 1, you turn right real hard." Because I'm not sure they're talking. So yeah. I'm wondering how that note sharing is going to happen. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see some some shenanigans coming back from that test. That would be the only way that I think they could benefit from it.
Well, I mean, they have to pick somebody, right? I mean, they need some experienced guys who know their way around a road course and are experienced with these cars to test out this track and see what it's like and give proper feedback to manufacturers, to the officiating, just whoever needs it. The whole reason they're doing a test is to get that information. So I get that they're not picking out, Coil LaJoie or like smaller teams. They need guys who are going to be contenders in the race. It is pretty close. I mean, you said May, so it's about 2 months out, maybe 2.5 months out. But they got to pick somebody. I mean, we've seen Kurt Busch run the next gen car multiple times because they're trying to get these guys into a position where they can give better and better feedback. They're not just going off, "Oh, this is brand new. This is what I feel." No, this is what I felt the first time. You've made some changes. This is how I feel the second time. They get that. It's not really a fresh face. They get kind of like a veteran in there who has prior experience. So they got to pick somebody, and they pick guys who are going to be up front regardless.
Yeah, I think I would have liked a mixture, so that way they can know what the tires are like for top tier teams, and then teams that just don't have the funding. Yeah, like 1 or 2 of the smaller teams. Like you said, I would have loved to see like a Corey LaJoie out there, like a lower tier team, and then maybe a mid tier team, so like a Front Row Motorsports or Bubba Wallace. Even though 23XI is new, they have a lot of funding and a lot of support from Joe Gibbs. So I would have liked to see kind of one of those mid tier teams, but. I don't know. It is what it is, but like you said, I think getting the best out there is going to get them the best data. I'll 100% agree with that, but I think getting that smaller team data is also really important, especially at a national level series like that. So,
well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add on, chime in about Truex's comment about how he feels this is going to be a lot like Pocono, where a lot of 5-wide racing going into some of these corners, which I think he's right. We see that a lot when Indy raced there, and then I think way back when Formula One raced there, or do they still race there? I can't remember. Okay, I know they dropped one American track. I couldn't remember which one, but which they do. It's on some of those starts and restarts, they get 4, 5, 6 wide on some of those straightaways, and those turns just narrow up real quick. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these Cup guys handle that. Well, everybody really, but how these NASCAR drivers handle that, because those cars are a lot heavier than the open wheel cars. So
you can go 6 wide into turn 1. I'm not sure you can come out of it, but everyone wants to cut the bottom in turn 1. And look, I'm telling you though, I don't care what they come up with for a line. The best line is taking the highlight and fading around the corner rather than trying to cut through it. And I've talked to many drivers who said that turn 1 at COTA is deceiving. And look. You talk about Corey LaJoie. He's already run laps there. He's probably run more. I guarantee you, he's run more laps at COTA than Chase Elliott did the other day. So he's got
a random name. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. Corey went down there a few months ago when I was there and ran a Miata And so, he's got mental, awareness of where all the turns are and what he needs to do.
And he's got racing awareness, which is much more valuable than what Chase and Brad and Truex got. I'll tell you that right now. From a racer standpoint, like if you can get actual racing experience on a track versus just taking laps around it, you have the edge up.
Oh, well, like I said, they were making good laps. You know who else has some? Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and Kaz Grala, who were down there in a Fury race car. Looks like a Trans Am or something that was probably. Even though NASCAR has some specific rules about you can't have anything that from a stock car on a track that you're testing. It sure did look like it might have had some parts or pieces or whatever. And look, who am I? I don't know anything about race cars. A tie rod end and a spring and track bar and all that stuff. Brake calipers. I don't know if it goes on a Cup car or an IMSA car, or an Indy car or F1 car, but I know that if I'm going to race something and I'm going to come to a track and want to have a little bit of an advantage, I'm gonna do whatever I can to get it as close to tolerance and legality as I can. I asked Chad Knaus one time, I said, how many rules are made in the rule book because of things that they found that you've done that were either gray or weren't rules yet? And he said, not enough. So that tells you right there that they never caught him on everything that he ever did. So all these crew chiefs and these drivers, they know the tricks of the trade, and they're come back to COTA. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll tell you something else about COTA. On Tuesday, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, lifted the mandate for masks effective on March 10th. No more masks after that in the state. I guess individual businesses and facilities can still ask you to wear them, but there is no statewide mandate anymore, as well as 100% capacity. I spoke with the folks at Texas Motor Speedway about their race with the All-Star race in June, as well as the COTA race, and they're still evaluating everything at this time. They don't know if they're going to go to full capacity, but it definitely gives them the option. And I'll have a little story coming out about that probably tomorrow at kickinthetires.net. But I did want to mention that we do not have a mask mandate or a capacity limit anymore in Texas, thanks to Governor Greg Abbott this past Tuesday. So that's good and bad in a way, if you're, but we've hit the threshold for COVID. So.
Yeah, and same with Mississippi too. Although I don't think we have any races there with any of the major series or with ARCA. But
Stenhouse.
What's that?
At Stenhouse. That's about all.
Yeah, Stenhouse is the only one that cares about that, and I don't know. I've seen him. He doesn't wear a mask very often when he's out at the dirt tracks. So.
But yeah, you mentioned one quick second. You mentioned the turns and the corners at COTA. It pretty much makes it the most fascinating road course on the schedule for me, just because of how wild these corners are. You mentioned turn one and how it literally comes down to a point. I mean, you got to take it so wide in. It's uphill. I think Brad said if a fan had to make a corner and focus on Calamity, it would be how turn one is focused. And then you look at the S's that back and forth, I think 5 or 6, 7 times. Then you got long sweeping left and right hand corners. I mean, really, as I said, sharp edges where they have to really arc it in and hit that apex and go around. It's really gonna test these guys. I mean, from start to end, it's gonna be wild.
If you want to go to COTA and cover the race as the media inside representative, you can, but I'm shooting the race.
You're going to have a better time than me, but I think I'll still go.
Are you going to go?
I want to. It would just suck not seeing the track,
I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know, because
Texas, they can let us be human.
Exactly. I'm wondering how they're gonna make it happen. We'll see, but they don't have a press box, so it would be in the infield media center unless they come up with some other way to do it. But I mean, I know we're talking inside baseball here on the show, but look, let me know, because I need to put the request in. But I will be there, and I plan on shooting the race because I actually know where all the secret spots are for great photos. So that's
you're gonna go up to that
that's
not thing.
The snake is not the snake tower is not really the best place to get shots. I mean, it's a good shot for aerial, but it's not really the best shot. Turns 13 you can shoot all the way back down the S's, and you can get like 6 or 7 cars, in different
in all different directions.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And also, there's a long straightaway coming around. When you go through the Tower Loop, where that's the iconic red and blue and stars and everything that you see, when you go through the Tower Loop, there's a huge straightaway coming up to there that you can get all the cars, and they're all jockeying for position. So, for the fans out there that are watching the show, I'm giving you the really cool parts of the track aside from turn 1, because that's what everybody talks about. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So you definitely want to go to the race at COTA. Stop by, say hi to us. We'll, I'll be there the entire weekend, and I know that there's going to be a lot of people from the NASCAR media press corps that are going out there because it's the first ever race there. So definitely come check it out. But that's a ways away. This weekend, we have a race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I'm picking Joey Logano right now because all of y'all are going to steal my pick if you don't.
Well, I think we already said we were just going to pick all Team Penske. So, Zach, you want Blaney or Keselowski?
Brad.
All right, I'll go with my boy Blaney.
All right.
I'm going with Blaney, and then I'll pick for Seth, Matt DiBenedetto. There you go.
I'm picking Joey Logano in the Shell Pennzoil car, and there's so much cool stuff going on this weekend with, look, we can't be at the track, okay? Everybody knows that. But Shell is doing it up right with a virtual, proving grounds for lack of a better, I guess actually that's the term they're calling it, but they're going to have performances. All of this stuff starts Thursday. It starts about 7 p.m. Thursday. You can go to Pennzoil.com. You can go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway.com. You can look at their and go to their virtual fan zone, but they're going to have backstage juggling and things for kids and family and circuit, online circus type thing. And all of this is leading up to a big show that starts at 8 o'clock. And we're going to have Shin Lim, Carrot Top, and the stars of America's Got Talent, and some of the biggest acts on the Las Vegas Strip will all be doing performances virtually for everyone to log in and see at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway website, and you can zoom into it. You can follow it along. And for me, at 7:30, I'm going to do the pre-show part 2 called At the Bar. This is going to involve some mixology and some adult drinks and beverages. And we're going to be having a class by Leo Roberstack, who is he's the senior mixologist for Nomad Hotels in Las Vegas and Nomad Hotels in New York as well. This guy knows his stuff. He's going to make some really cool drinks, show us how to do it. I'll be probably drunk by the time the main show comes on with Carrot Top and everybody else. But I've already seen, what the show is like. Shell's a big supporter of Kickin' Tires in the past, and we've got some really good friends over there. So they sent us a preview, so to speak, of what's going to happen. And one of the coolest things that they sent, you can go there now. I'm going to leak this out right now. Shell has their own phone app racing game. You can race Joey Logano, okay? It's virtual. But you can here. It's cool. I mean, you can use they use the accelerometer in your phone so that you can turn and you get it just like iRacing, only on a much smaller screen. I had a blast doing this today. So shout out to the folks at Shell for doing something for the fans, because they put a lot of work and a lot of money into this whole event, the Shell Pennzoil event. Go to Shell Pennzoil, Pennzoil.com, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Check out their virtual, performance that they've got going on, and have fun. Bring your family. You don't have to do the optional stuff for the adults, and all that, but you can do the pre-race and then the big show with Carrot Top and all the comedians and all the stars, and that would be really cool. And it's something we haven't seen that from any other sponsor that I'm aware of in NASCAR so far this year, since COVID came out. So this is a big deal. Joey Logano, by the way, going for 4 in a row at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Is that what this one is?
Is it?
No, maybe the spring, right? Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. 4 in a row in the Shell Pennzoil. It's either 3 or 4 in a row for Joey Logano going into Las Vegas for the spring Shell Pennzoil race. This is the 4th race. He's won every one of them. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, 3. He's done 2 in a row. So this would be 3 in a row. So since 2017, it's Truex, then Harvick, and then Logano.
There you go.
So, which we know in 2018 was really another Logano highlight, but for another
Kyle.
reason.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. It happens. That's going to do it for my part of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You guys can talk about your picks or whatever you want to do.
Well, we already know what Jerry's picks are.
I told you.
We know all of our picks apparently, but
Yeah, but you can make your case even though they're not going to win.
Joey's a really good pick. But it is a triple header weekend, so we got numerous other races, and Truck Series is one of them. I'm probably going to go with the easy guy, and that's Ben Rhodes. He's off to a hell of a start. Swept the first 2 races of the year, but he's also a Vegas winner already, and he's always been very good on the mile-and-a-half races. But can't really. I mean, when he gets out front, he's so aggressive that I feel like he might just not let anybody pass him all night. But if one guy's going to pass him, it would be Sheldon Creed, who starts, I believe, 2nd. And if he's not a hard-nosed racer already, he's got that Camping World logo on the side, and what Marcus Lemonis is doing with I think they paid $15,000 to wrap the truck. And if you win like $50,000, something like that, with all those. And he's helping all the small teams and guys like Creed, who, even though he's a defending champion, he's not really sponsored. He wasn't sponsored much last year. He just had Chevrolet on the side. So for him to have that's great. I'll definitely keep him in the conversation. And then with Xfinity, the best series in NASCAR right now for probably the last year and a half. Who knows who's going to win, right? But I feel like it's going to be a Brandon Jones weekend. He's not my championship pick this year. That's Allmendinger, but I do feel like Jones is going to be in the championship 4. He's really, each year in his career, he's gotten better and better. I think since 2018 on, each year he's progressed, and he was able to win numerous times last year, and he's better. He's good on any type of track, so I feel like Jones is going to get it done this year. Nearly won last week, so he's my pick here. And I just said it, Brad Keselowski for the Cup race. He's pretty much the best guy in Vegas right now, or at least the last few years. Him and Logano have just been tearing that place up, and Blaney is dominated. DiBenedetto, 2nd place, both races last year, but I got to give it to Brad. He's a 3-time winner, more than any other active driver, most top 5s. Even though Harvick has, I think, 8 more starts at Vegas, Brad still has the same amount of top 5s. So it's just one of those tracks that's really fitted him, whether it's the playoff race or the spring race. So I'm probably going to go with Rhodes, Jones, and Keselowski.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a little bit of low-hanging fruit because I'm looking at this entry list right now, and Kyle Busch is starting the truck race. So,
oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
All Kyle Busch fans, how could you forget about him? What?
It's been a while. He doesn't do much truck.
No.
He does 6 a year.
Yeah, it's not his decision. He would probably be full-time if he could.
Oh, we know he would. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for that low hanging fruit. You whenever Kyle Busch is in the race, 99% of the time you're just racing for 2nd place. So, Kyle Busch there. I don't know who I want for the Xfinity race though. There's a lot of names in here that are popping up for me. Obviously you got Gragson, who definitely is gonna be out for some revenge here. Ty Dillon's going to be racing in the Xfinity race, as well as Tyler Reddick. So Ty still knows how to drive an Xfinity car, and obviously we saw Reddick in the Cup race last weekend at Homestead. So, man, I almost feel like the Xfinity and truck races are going to be won by a non-Xfinity or truck regular. So I'm gonna have to say Xfinity. I'm gonna go with Reddick. I think Tyler Reddick's gonna sneak his way up, even though he's starting. How far down is he? He's pretty far back. He's starting 38th.
Really far.
38th for the Xfinity race. So that's where I'm going to have. And then obviously, as we talked earlier, I've got Blaney. That's my Penske pick for the Penske 400. I mean the Las Vegas race.
It is the Penske 400, but I am going to go ahead and pick Matt Crafton in the trucks and Noah Gragson in Xfinity, just so that I can be,
yeah, we have to stop picking. Wrong. Every time we pick Noah, he crashes out. I picked Noah the last 2 weeks, and he had like the worst luck ever.
Yeah,
so okay. I gave him a break. I didn't pick.
I'm picking him because it's home track for him. Let's see. What else do we got? We got Bristol Motor Speedway. There was a press conference today about Bristol Motor Speedway, and I got a little bit of an insight on this. The last time they ran dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway was like, I don't know, probably before all of y'all were born. But it was a long time ago.
Like 01, right?
It was 01. So I don't know. Were y'all born in 01?
What in the world?
Y'all are youngsters.
That's 19, 50. 20 years ago. We aren't that young.
You were 4.
I was 11.
Okay.
It's ma'am.
Y'all are still youngsters. So anyway, they went and found the dirt that they used then. Okay. And they used that for the base of the track. Because for one reason, they have to like take off this 30-degree banking that they have. So they went and found the dirt. They had to get everything as level as they could for the upcoming race. Then they went and got dirt samples from like 18 places around the country. Okay. They took these out to California to a guy named Dr. Dirt. This is true. And he analyzed all their stuff, and they whittled it down to 3 or 4 and picked from that the best compound of red, clayish, Tennessee, Virginia muck. Okay. And that's what they put for the track. So that's your dirt scenario for Bristol Motor Speedway for the upcoming, dirt extravaganza that they're going to have. And apparently, like between now and the Cup race, there's like 1,300 laps that are going to be, run on that track. There's just a ton of cars that are going to go in, and that's how they're going to decide for this 250 lap race for the Cup Series. That's how they're going to decide how much dirt, how much water they need to put, where they, how they need to prepare the track. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. But your thoughts, either one of y'all, on this race and how they went about this, because apparently dirt is really a scientific thing.
Oh yeah, especially with today's computers and stuff too. So
yeah, I had no idea. I thought they just ate into one of those mountains that are right next to the track.
Might as well.
Just threw it right over the grandstand. Wow, that's crazy. California, that's freaking. I mean, Justin, that's where you are.
We do have some pretty good dirt tracks out here. I'm not gonna lie, we do have some pretty good ones out here.
No,
that's wild. Yeah, I really, really look forward to that. I was just watching footage on YouTube of some late model going around, just doing some practice laps or whatever, and it looked really cool. It just didn't even look like Bristol. I guess you have to like zoom out and look at the grandstands and kind of see it. When it's zoomed in, it just looks like another a dirt track. But wow, just I knew it was going to be, as soon as I heard about it, I'm like, wow, we talk about variation of just seeing. I mean, it's so funny we're starting the year out with all these new winners because, you get tracks like that and the new road courses and all that. I mean, who knows when it's going to stop. But, I mean, as you said, there's tons of laps being run there. I think Kyle Busch and Larson and a couple others are running some late model race, right? So, I mean, and we talk about getting a leg up. I mean, they're going to get that as well. But with the heat races and all that going on, they're going to have a lot of time and some practice sessions, a lot of time to get it underneath them. But man, I think we're in for a wild night no matter what.
One person on the call asked about how they got rid of all the dirt and how long it would take, and Jerry Caldwell and Scott Miller in the group where we're talking, and apparently it's real easy to get rid of the dirt. You go in, you put, you load it up with front loaders and put in dump trucks and all that. Mm-hmm. Caldwell said they pressure washed the entire track, and stands and everything in 2001 4 times to get rid of all the dust and debris and mud clogs from the last dirt race they had there. So I can only imagine what it's going to take to get rid of all this nasty red clay crap that they're going to, put up in the air. And look, I'll be there. I know it's going to be dusty. I'm not going to be able to see much up in the press box, but you know who's going to have it the worst? That's Matt Corson, because he's going to be down there on the track taking pictures, and I hope he wears his mask and some goggles, because he's going to eat dirt sandwiches for a week after that race. So
there's nowhere for the dirt to go.
I know it's just going to be right there.
Yeah. So if you're getting tickets to Bristol, fans, don't get them in the corners unless you want to be wearing that dirt for the next 5 days.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Vortex theory that DW is talking about is just going to be like a tornado.
We definitely need to do something. Justin, you mentioned tickets, and the race is sold out. I called Bristol Motor Speedway today. You might be able to get some premium tickets, which started about $400 or $500 a pop, but that's in suites and things of that nature. However, Kickin the Tires has teamed up with one of our very loyal fans. That he's going to remain anonymous, but he's a big supporter of ours on Twitter and everything. And he has donated 2 tickets to the Cup Series race and thrown in 2 tickets to the Truck Series race for us to auction off. Go to my Twitter account, JerryJordan_KTT, or at the Kickin the Tires Twitter account, or anybody else's that's part of Kickin the Tires, and find it. It's going to be pinned on my account. But go to the eBay auction, and we are auctioning off 2 tickets for the race. The money is going to go to someone that I, covered in my early career as a journalist in sports, but it wasn't NASCAR. Jeanette Lee, also known as the Black Widow. You may have seen her in the movie Sister Sister. She's a professional pool player, one of the best 9-ball players in the world, played with the WPBA, the Women's Professional Billiard Association. She's played all over the world. She was diagnosed with terminal stage 4 ovarian cancer. There is a GoFundMe page that has been set up in her honor, and all of the proceeds that are related to this auction are going to be donated by Kickin the Tires and to that fund to help her legacy and to help her 3 children, in case the inevitable happens and she's not faster than cancer. But this is a very serious, it's very dear to my heart. Years ago in 1996, I know exactly when it was, I was covering for Billiards Digest the Houston WPBA 9-ball Open, and I went to shoot a photo of Jeanette as she went to shoot a winning shot. Luckily, she made the shot, but when I did, the flash on my camera went off, and you don't flash a pool player in the eyes with a flash in a dark room, and she lit me up. And for the longest time, we'd see each other at other events and other tournaments, and she would joke with me that she was still seeing blue spots in her eyes because of that flash. And so she messed with me for a long time, and kind of like I'm going to do with you about being in Vegas this weekend, Justin. But yeah, she gave me a lot of grief about that through the years of me covering for Billiards Digest. I wanted to do this, and we were able to make it possible. So please go to the Kickin the Tires. We're gonna also pin it on the website at kickinthetires.net, so that you guys can just click to it and go to the link. And if you want to buy those tickets, it's definitely going to a worthy cause. So that's gonna do it for me this week, guys. If y'all want to add something, close it out, feel free and let me know.
Not just we've got a lot of races to look forward to, like legit looking forward to almost every single one of these coming up. So
Zach, you've got some races coming up that you're going to be doing. I think you're going to be I'll be in Atlanta most likely, you'll be in Atlanta most likely. So you've got a whole string. I need to get that list from you, but you're going to be busy again.
Yeah, really, once the short track season starts up with Martinsville and Richmond, and I guess Darlington a little bit after that. You mentioned Atlanta. Going into the summer, it kind of picks up. So, yeah, it's been a slow start to the year for me, just Daytona, then nothing else for a while. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back and hopefully shooting by a catch fence again. I kind of miss feeling the burn from the cars going by. It's been a long time.
Well, Rachel, Justin's wife, has your photo vest, or our photo vest. It arrived today safely.
Yep.
I UPS'd it to them, and they're going to ship it back to you. So you'll be able to be ready for Atlanta, and then we'll get it from there to where it needs to go. So we're ready for Kickin the Tires is ready for the 2021 season. We're only a few races in. We got a long way to go. It's going to be a long season, but it's going to be very exciting. So you guys, all of our fans, be sure to continue to follow us. Hit the subscribe button down there on the YouTube links. Follow us on Twitter and social media and Facebook and Instagram. And remember, we're your source for some of the best coverage of NASCAR, iRacing, IMSA, IndyCar. We've got it all, and we want to make you guys, big fans of ours, because we're big fans of anyone who's a fan of motorsports. That's going to do it for us this week. See y'all after Vegas.